Hey guys, welcome back to the third part of my Ableton tutorial. So now that we've got the drums down, this is what they're sounding like. We're going to start adding some more melodic elements and some more atmospheric elements. So we'll insert some more audio tracks, turning the volume down again. Jump into our sample packs. This time, instead of using drum hit samples, we will use some pad loops. So there's all sorts of different sounds. We'll check out the strings. You'll notice that it says A, B, C sharp. This just indicates the key that this pad or string loop is in. So let's solo it, see what it sounds like. Now because it fades in and out, and I'm thinking of having a constant sound going, I'm going to select the middle, copy that, and then right click to paste. And now I've split that sample into 3 separate parts. I can delete either end of it. And now we'll duplicate this across the track. Turn the volume down, it's competing with the kick a bit. So like last time, we will add the side chain compressor. We'll link it up to the kick. This, in the same way it gave hats motion and gives emphasis to the kick, we'll do so with this pad. Turn the volume down, you can hear the kick distorting there. And we'll call this pad sample. Now, if you select each individual sample copy, you can adjust the transpose option. This lowers or raises the octaves, so you can actually have a melodic shift going by adjusting this slightly. Let's see how it sounds with a bit of experimentation. And pop this one up. Sounds a bit better. And we'll copy this across the 16 bars. And already one simple element adds so much more to it. Let's try the audio effect auto filter. So again, we can see sort of the frequency spectrum here represented. This one looks similar to the EQ, and that's because it is similar to the EQ. So again, we can cut off all the low end. We don't really want that though. We'll have this option. Raise the resonance a little. So over here in the LFO, or low frequency oscillator section, we can select the shape of the oscillation and adjust the amount. This will give it more motion along with the compressor sidechain. Let's see how this sounds. So you can hear how the sound's kind of opening and closing. This gives it even more movement. It's this really nice wobbly effect. With the drums, we end up with this really kind of groovy pad line over the top. It's all turning out very jazzy. Again, experiment with the options. See what it sounds like, play around, find something that you like the sound of. Now let's put some more drums in there, and we're going to chop up a drum break. I'm thinking of just throwing in a few little sections here and there. So we'll go through some of the samples, see what we have. And while we work through them, we can hit play and sort of get a vague idea of what they'll sound like before we chop them into the mix on our timeline on an audio track. You can really spend hours going over this sort of stuff. So this one sounds good. Drop it in there. So it's quite a large sample. It's got probably more element than the drums we have currently put together. So we'll shorten the sample length. We'll just get this little snippet involved. Let's see how this sounds. We'll add some reverb via the return. Lower the volume. Just get everything mixed in and all the levels sounding right. Okay, we'll use the hotkey to duplicate this. And we will call it break. Sample. So let's add some distortion with this plugin. Another audio effect we explored briefly last time. It's just going to make it sound crustier and broken. So lower the mix. That's similar to how you would lower the dry wet effect. And now let's chop off all the low end so it's not competing with the kick. And now it's sounding much more part of the entire track than it was before. It's not sticking out anymore. So now we've got this pad sample, the break sample down. Let's look and add in one more atmospheric effect. We'll try some vocals. I've got a lot of a cappella samples. These are all just kind of big R&B songs from the 90s. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do with this. See if we can get a vocal sample from this one. So it's a full-length track. You can see that it takes up a lot of space down there, so we'll trim it all the way down. Ableton has a feature where if you drop an audio sample in, it will match that audio sample to the selected BPM of the tune that you are making. So by selecting warp, this will allow it to go back to its normal BPM rate. You see, I've left it on with these drums because it's 160 BPM, so that'll really distort the drums and throw them out of sync. So we'll try to get some of these female vocals here. We'll lower the transpose a little bit. See if we can get the vocals a bit more in key with those pads. And now we'll just find the right spot to put this. So, as usual, we've split it out across the loop. The chorus audio effect layers the same sound on top of each other. And you can kind of hear its effect there. Some ping pong effects. We'll experiment, see what sounds good. So like I keep stressing, a lot of it is just playing around with these different dials and options, just seeing what you can do with these features. So you can see how with only a total of 7 elements so far, I've already managed to create something that's kind of unique and interesting and got a lot going on with just 7 elements. So it goes to show that you really don't need to throw as much as you can into an Ableton, which I think a lot of people tend to do when they first start producing. Less is always more. You can focus more on the individual sounds, and you end up saving processing power, simplifying all the elements that you work with so you don't get overloaded, and you come out with something really good and you feel a lot more in control. So these are all steps towards developing a really good workflow to building a 16-bar loop really quickly, which can then expand into a huge track. So in the fourth and final video, we'll just look at creating a bass line with a MIDI track. And I think we'll leave it at that for now.